Well, good morning, everybody. It's Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead. Guys, I'm off over in the woods at Pecan Grove. We have a picnic table that Wanda's two sons built her. Sitting out here in the woods. It's a place we've chose to, to be able to sit down and enjoy just the woods around us here. And I thought I'd come over here this morning. This is early Sunday morning. The sun has not come up. You'll hear the birds in the background because it's still dark, really. I've got the light on the camera turned on. You'll hear the wildlife start coming to life here. And this is what I love. I come over here and feed the cows every morning and water everything and just spend some time over here and enjoy, the property. I'm trying to learn in my life. I'm going to talk today a little bit about things that I have issues with. And maybe some of you have the same issues. Take these off my hat here. It looks a little distracting. Guys, it has been so hot this summer. You guys know that. We still have not gotten any rain here where we live at. Not even over here at Pecan Grove. I think we've got maybe an inch in 3 months, and that's nothing in the heat that we've had. We still have not broke out of the 100-degree heat index every day. I mean, it's still, even though the temperature might not be but in the 90s, it still goes over 100-degree heat index every day. Today is overcast and cloudy. The last 2 days, the rain has went right beside us on both sides, a couple of miles up the road from us and a couple of miles down the road that way. Heavy rain, just steady going through. We've not gotten anything, and all the neighbors here at Pecan Grove are, they're wanting rain too, and even at Deepsouth Homestead, the ponds are like 7 foot low over there now, so we've had no rain there either. There's just strips down through the south, down through here that just hadn't had any rain. Now, lots of people have had rain. We just haven't, but we're going to hold out and believe that the Lord will bless us, because we wanted to be able to plant some food plots over here for the fall, and I wanted to be able to plant ryegrass for the cows and stuff like that, about mid-September. But if it doesn't rain, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to do that. These are some of the projects that we were wanting to do here. But nevertheless, the thing that I want to talk about today is being able to live out your journey. I am guilty, probably more than anybody, of becoming so involved in what I'm doing that I don't live the journey and I don't enjoy the journey. I catch myself every day busting my tail, trying to get this done, trying to get that done, and I forget to just stop sometimes and smell the roses, as the old saying goes. Well, that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm trying to just stop and smell the roses. I decided to come over here to shoot porch time and just listen to nature, because so many times we forget that God is in everything. Even the wildlife around us here. I listen to the birds as they wake up in the mornings. I listened to I've already seen how many deer this morning on the road and on the property, even at Deepsouth Homestead, which is highly unusual with all the people over there. There was deer at my barn this morning. That's something that rarely, never, hardly ever happens with the cows around. But nevertheless, they were there and they didn't run. They just stood there and looked at me. Got on the road driving here. Saw several on the road this morning, so that must mean that they're moving right now. I guess we're getting a little closer to fall. Maybe they're hunting the food sources is what I'm kind of thinking. There's no water except for in the swamp bottoms and stuff like that, or if somebody has a pond. Lots of the deer I see are coming up out of swamp bottoms, crossing the road, or if I see a person's pond when I go by, I see them standing on the edge of a pond. So even the wildlife is beginning to suffer now. And because of the drought that we're under, I am seeing a lot more wildlife. And that's when I told myself, I said, you know what? Now some of the wildlife I take out because they're lovely animals, but they're very destructive animals. I mean, the coons, the possums, the armadillos, things of this nature. Armadillos, you twist your ankle. I mean, I've already got a bad knee. Wanda's got bad knees, and we walk out and there's armadillo holes in the yard, and we twist an ankle or something. At our age, it could be devastating, especially if we fell, broken ankle or something. We'd be down for quite some time. The raccoons get into all of our gardens. They get into our fruit trees and stuff like that, so we have to take them out. The possums, they're constantly eating up our stuff, and we have to eradicate all these creatures. Skunks, they got into the chicken pens, they got into the turkey pens, they eat all the eggs and stuff like that. Now, they don't mess with the chickens or the turkeys, but they do eat all the eggs and stuff, and so we have to get rid of them. And things to this nature, but now like the quail and the rabbits and the turkeys and the deer and stuff to this nature, the doves, the ducks, things like this, we love to see all that stuff here because they don't really do any damage or anything. The deer, since we use the bone sauce from Permapastures Farms YouTube channel, we haven't had a problem with deer getting into our garden. Now, not to say that they won't. I mean, we just haven't had a problem. I mean, the deer are all around it, but nothing yet. And I mean, guys, enjoying the journey of life is what it's all about. If we get to the end of our life and we've not enjoyed anything, then what good is our life? You know, I mean, the Lord said that He came that we might have life and that we might have it more abundantly. And that's the way I try to look at life that way. But I catch myself every so often, the old devil just gets in there and he just, he gets you all wound up and, you know, things don't go right and, you know, and you get yourself caught up in the rat race of trying to live a life that really and truly is just not pleasing to the Lord. You know, I mean, we worry, we get stressed out, we get ourselves overextended financially. I mean, all kinds of things happen. Physical issues happen. You know, there's things that, and that's what's been my biggest issue has been physical issues. I mean, I don't talk about it on YouTube, but I got tons of things that's happening to me at my age. And it's just part of growing old. You know, I mean, we have to accept the fact that our bodies are breaking down. That's the way God, He just, I've come to the conclusion, let me put it this way, I've come to the conclusion that when you get older and things start happening to you, it makes going home a lot sweeter because you just sit back and, you know, you're like, man, if I just wake up one morning and I didn't hurt, or if I just could have a good day where I felt good that day, you know, and it's just, I think it makes the homecoming a lot sweeter the older we get. Now, they call them the golden years. I don't know what's golden about them because to me, there's absolutely nothing that's golden about them. Unless it's the fact that you have to have gold treatments in your joints and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Because my youth was, I mean, the Bible says, enjoy the days of your youth, you know, before the evil days come upon you. And I think he's talking about the evil days is when you get older. Not necessarily that they're evil, but that you just, they're not as enjoyable anymore as they were when you were young. You know, when I was young, my feet hit the floor at 4 o'clock every morning. By 4:30, I was out the door. I was on the road, man. I was going wherever I needed to go and working. And I could work 16, 18, 20-hour days. Never thought anything about it. You know, back when I was, younger, other jobs that I did, I could run 20 miles. You know, I didn't never get tired. My side didn't hurt. All these kind of things. I mean, my physical body was very physically fit, very physically strong, and I couldn't I couldn't run 10 yards now if I had to with my knees messed up and everything, and it's irritating, you know. I mean, I shot long distances and stuff like that, and you know, really great eyesight, and now my eyes are starting to give me a lot of trouble, and that's kind of annoying to me. Wanda and I was back at the food plot the other day, and I've been pouring some corn out for the deer to eat on, where we could do these videos for y'all, or especially over on Patreon. And the crows flew over, and I just threw up and shot and knocked one of them out of the sky. And I was like, wow. I said, I'm still able to shoot halfway decent, even though I don't see as good as I used to. And she said, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way you're seeing, you know. And it just, when I do things like that, it makes me feel a little bit better about myself, that I'm still able to do a few things that I used to could do. And that's part of the journey, is we have to understand, and I don't have problems with this, we have to understand that as we get older, things break down on our bodies. God didn't make us to live, you know, I mean, well, he did create the bodies to live forever, but sin crept in. And now, because of sin, our bodies degrade and they break down, and we physically, you know, are not as strong as our ancestors were. And it's not to say that we can't live a good life, because we can. We can enjoy the life that God's gave us. And that's the thing that I want to try to reiterate today, is the simple fact, when we wake up in the morning, I have learned to speak this very phrase when I get up in the morning: today, I choose to be happy today. I choose for my life to be full of joy and happiness and love and peace. These are things I speak upon myself this day. And I choose not to deal with the sad things of life. I choose not to deal with stress today. I rebuke these things in the name of Christ, and I just learn to live my life, and I try to live it as best as I can. Even though physical ailments come, you know, the pain is there and things like that, I still try to find the positive in everything that I do. When I go out the door to the garden, you know, sometimes the insects have damaged a lot of my plants, or the heat has taken its toll on my plants. And I look at it and I go, you know, I know these are issues that's happening, and there's a lot of them, there's nothing that I can really do about it other than spray harsh chemicals or, you know, something to that nature, and I'm not going to do that. I tell myself, at least I got up this morning, at least I put my shoes on, I dressed myself, I ate my meal, I came out, I enjoyed the fact that I got to plant this stuff. Now, whether I'll ever harvest anything from it, only God knows that. And I enjoyed this part of the journey. I'm not going to let what happened ruin my day. And I will replant with something else if I have to, and I will start over. Because I've had to start over several times in my life. If y'all know my story, there's been 2 or 3 different times in my life I've lost everything that I've owned and been without anything. And the Lord has blessed me to be able to climb back up and be able to have things again. And they've all been learning experiences for me. I try not to let things knock me down and keep me down. It has been difficult, you know. I've been broke all to pieces in my life through different things that's happened, through, you know, instances I've been involved in my life that has caused my body to be broken up really bad. And I live with a lot of arthritic pain and joint pain and, you know, other physical issues, but I try not to let that be the focus of my day. I try to look for something that I can find that's positive that day. And it might be something very simple. I mean, my thing is, I used to love to get up in the morning and drink a cup of coffee. Well, now that I have the heart issue, my doctors have taken me off of all coffee and told me that that's not good for me, because coffee is a natural diuretic. I was staying dehydrated a lot. I didn't realize that coffee was, and the heat was dehydrating me. And then the caffeine, and then I went to the decaffeinated, and I realized that the decaffeinated has so many harsh chemicals in it that's used to decaffeinate the coffee that when you heat it back up, those chemicals are put back into your body. I was having effects from that. Then I went to the Swiss water press, and then it finally just got to a point where I said, you know what, it's just getting to be so hard to find anything that I can actually drink like that. I'll just drink water. God put water here on the earth. I'm going to drink water. And for about 16, 17 years now, water is all that I've drank. I have not drank anything else other than my muscadine juice or my orange juice from my own stuff here. That's what I've drank. I tried drinking a fountain drink one time, and it made me so sick at my stomach till all the acid going down into me that I swore I'd never drink another one. But I've learned that the fruit of the land here at Deepsouth Homestead and at Pecan Grove, we have a lot of muscadines, we have a lot of citrus trees and stuff that we're trying to keep going. And we've squeezed in a lot of our own juices and stuff, and I'm trying to learn to just live off of what God gave us. And we're trying very hard, Wanda and I are trying to learn anyway, to eat in season. Now that has been the most difficult thing that I think we have ever tried to do in our life. I mean, you would think that that would not be hard. But when it comes time for, for the holidays, I'm not a big holiday person, but Thanksgiving and stuff like, I do like Thanksgiving, but when these times come around, and we're all looking for the, everybody likes to make, banana puddings and all this kind of stuff. Well, bananas are not in season during that time of the year. We run to the store and we buy bananas and, stuff like that. We're trying to get away from all that stuff. And we're trying to eat things that are actually in season, because I really believe in my heart that God intended for us to eat in season, so that whatever the elements is around us at the time, the cold, the heat, whatever's growing at that time, that's what our body needs to be able to acclimate to that condition. Eating strawberries in December is not natural in the up here where it stays cold at. And now down south, it may be perfectly natural. They may grow them all year long down there and eat them, but they may have to have them in the heat. I don't know. But strawberries grow in the heat for a reason. Now we grow pineapples, and pineapples come in the heat, and we eat the pineapples in season. Now we do freeze some to eat along occasionally. But I believe that it's just intended for us to live that way. And I think we would be happier. I really believe we'd be mentally and physically happier if we did things the way God ordained them. Our forefathers, before they had jars for canning and stuff like this, they dried their grains in the summer and stuff like that so they would have it throughout the winter months. I mean, if you read Deuteronomy, chapter 28, it talks about, the Lord says, I'll bless you where your storehouses will be full. And in the scriptures, it talks about harvesting our food to last from season to season. And that's because we are to store our food. We are to prepare. I mean, all through the scriptures, God tells us to prepare. Now, he never really goes more than 1 year at a time with his people, the Israelites, unless it's the 7th year. Then he tells them to lay up for 2 years, so that the 7th year they don't have to grow anything. So God does tell his people to prepare for a year at a time, and then on the 7th year to make sure they have 2 years prepared up. So prepping is a God thing, and it gets to the point now where prepping has become a way of life, and people get really discouraged and broke down and beat down trying to prepare for years. I'm talking about, we do the My Patriot Supply. We do order from My Patriot Supply. We order stuff that we can't do, like we talked about this on a live stream this past week, where like powdered peanut butter. It's got a long shelf life. Powdered honey has a very long shelf life. Different things like this. We do buy that stuff from them, and we do use it, because the stuff, the stuff in the stores is becoming so contaminated and so toxic till it's just not really good to eat food out of a grocery store. And it's better to get your food organically grown. And don't be fooled by farmers markets. I used to be in the farmer market business, really big. I used to grow for a lot of these places, and farmers markets use just as many chemicals as giant food producers do. I mean, lots of these men I knew that raised for the farmers markets around here, when they had them here, they don't have them too much anymore, because people's too lazy to work now. But they sprayed those crops so heavy to keep them from having any bug bites on them here in the deep south and everything. And I didn't ever spray mine. I might have put some BT on my tomatoes or something like that to keep the worms off of them. But most people, I mean, they were spraying 7 dust, and they were spraying all kinds of herbicides around the plants to make sure they didn't have no weeds in the fields and stuff like this. Using pre-emergent herbicides when they planted and all this kind of stuff, and was constantly spraying the plants with mainly 7 dust and different things like that, and trying to keep insects off of them, keeping the stink bugs and the aphids and things like this from destroying the crops. And people were buying this stuff, especially at these U-pickets and stuff like that. I went and talked to them. Yeah, they use chemicals. They spray the heck out of everything at these U-pickets. And we bought from them one year, and after I went and talked to them afterwards, I was like, oh my word, I won't ever buy from them again. And, you know, I so look forward to the 1,000-year millennial reign, when sin will be gone from the earth and you'll be able to plant a garden. You won't have to worry about insects and stuff like this. We'll be able to garden and enjoy it, people. You know, I mean, praise the Lord we got that time to look forward to, and get rid of all this old evil that's on the world today, and just, you know, have that time to look forward to. That is, if you're a child of the King, you know, you have that to look forward to. But while we're here, we've got to learn to not let the things of this world destroy us. And we've got to learn to just enjoy the journey while we're here. Don't beat ourselves up prepping for 15, 25 years down the road. We may not live that long. You know, the Lord may come back, or and if we do, the food will just be left for somebody, I suppose, that's here. But we shouldn't stress ourselves out over the fact of whether or not we're prepared. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, I should teach survival. And this is the thing. 99% of the things that you prepare for never really happen. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Usually what happens is something you're totally not prepared for. I mean, I'll give you a for instance here. What if the power goes off and it don't come back on for months? Right now, there is a big fear in this country. There is several 100,000 multinationals, let me say that have infiltrated our country and to take down the power grid, and they know that. They just don't know when it's going to happen. They know it's going to happen. They just don't know when. And when the power goes out, what are you going to do? Do you have a way to get water? Do you have a way to purify your water? Can you deal with the death and the disease that's going to run rampant? Do you have a way to cook? Well, people go, well, I got propane. Well, propane is only going to be good for so long till you run out, and then they're not going to be no more. But do you have a way to cook? Do you have a way to protect what you do have? I have a video I did several years ago. I think it's called 165 Hours. You know, I mean, there's so many aspects of life we don't look at. If you're on a municipal water system and you're not on a well of some kind where you can actually get your water out of the ground, then you probably will die of thirst. And you got to stop and think, guys. There are so many things that's going to happen when these things happen that we're not prepared for. Like this summer, 100-something degree heat index for over 100 days in a row. without any electricity and no way to stay cool down here in this heat, it's almost impossible. Now, would we survive? We probably would survive, but a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people die from the heat. Heat exhaustion, heat strokes, all this kind of stuff. Our bodies as we age just can't take it like they used to could. You know, it's hard on me and Wanda. So don't stress yourself out over things that may not ever happen. So guys, enjoy your journey and quit stressing and worrying over things that you have absolutely no control over. That is the message for today. Keep your eyes focused on the Lord. The Lord is the one who sustains us. When you are in need, He will come to your aid. I assure you of that. He said, I've never seen one of my seed begging bread. He promised that to David. He told David, he says, I ain't never seen one of my own begging bread. If he takes care of the sparrows that's in the trees, if he takes care of the flowers that's in the fields, how much more are you than these things? The birds holler and chirp every day because they're hungry, and the Lord leads them to a food source. He said, if nature did not worship Him, the rocks themselves would even cry out. You know, I mean, so guys, take your eyes off of the things of this world, put them on the Lord and what He has for you in your life. He says in the scriptures, I know the things I have for you and that they're good. Not that they're bad. The Lord says, I know what I have planned for you. And I have good things planned for you. The devil don't like that, so he makes bad things happen. But you know what? My saying has always been, many, many times, the Lord allows the devil to pay the freight ticket, and He gets the glory for it. And with that phrase, I'm going to leave you guys today while I get out and enjoy a little bit more of Pecan Grove this morning before it starts warming up. Thank you guys from Deepsouth Homestead.